Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Hi, hello everybody. We are live. I just jumped right back into YouTube where we were. I know some people were on Facebook, some people were on LinkedIn. We're going to try again next week.
I can hear you.
Okay, here we go. So there we go. We know we can hear each other now.
So,
So we're going to
okay, we're getting a little feedback. Are you okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. There was just a bit of a delay, so just making
Yeah,
sure
that was
that.
yep, that was YouTube. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kimberly. So sorry for that. I know you are ready, honey. You are ready to just share with the world that listens and is on my platform about who you are, what you do, and how you can empower us. So let us jump right in. And then what I can do for those people who were watching it from different platforms, I'll just download it and share it later, and you guys can have a chance to be on there. Okay, so first of all, I usually have a song that I'm playing, and so today I'm starting with Lauren Daigle, and that is my guest song, says You Say. And the thing I like about that song is that, first of all, that's one of my favorite songs. So for you to say that, Kimberly, that's one of your songs, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so meant to be. I love that. So when I think about those lyrics,
Yes.
but say hello to the people and why you even like that song.
Oh, thank you. I just get emotional every time I hear it. And I think what's so beautiful about that song is it taps into that deep nerve in each one of us, at least in myself, where that fear is
Mhm.
that I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not trying hard enough, I'm not succeeding the way I should. All those voices in your head that tell you you're not enough. And it's just that reminder that you are and you have everything you need. And you just have to believe and you just have to breathe and you just have to trust and you just have to do and be. And it just grounds me every time I hear that song.
Mm. I also honestly want to ground us with just even the words. I know sometimes when I play a song or play something um, from like someone else's song, they don't always allow my stuff to be shown. So I'll just say the lyrics here, and because I it is something that has gotten me through some hard times, just like you said, fear, doubt. And so today I really want us to talk about that. We're going to unleash our the power that's within us. And so that title is um very connected to what we're talking about today. We're unleashing all of who we are. And today I want you all to think about these words. I'm pulling them back up. Give me a second because I had them up here. Let's see. All right, so it's called You Say. And let us go see. It just keeps giving me the video. So let's go back over here. And if you don't know this song, guys, get to know it. So it goes, and I sing a little bit. I sing a little bit, Kimberly, on my platform. I sing, I encourage, I empower, I teach, I do whatever it is I need to do on my on here. But I goes, I keep fighting voices in my mind that says I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. I haven't sang the song in a while, but listen to that. I keep fighting
Beautiful.
voices in my mind. How many of you listening today, Kimberly, I already know because you already said this song, fight voices every single day in your head that's like, dang, I'm not enough. I don't have what it takes. Talk to us a little bit, Kimberly, about who you are, where you come from, like where are you from? Give us just a little hint of your background.
Sure. Yeah. I'm coming to you from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. So
Hmm.
I'm located an hour north of the United States Canada border, north of Montana. And yeah, born and raised here in Canada. I've lived here my whole life, aside from, traveling. And I'm a person that um, I've had many really wonderful things happen in my life, many successes, but also a lot of challenges, a lot of hardships. And I have always known deep within that I have a lot to give, that I've been given gifts that I'm meant to share, but I've also had enough hard knocks that those voices have always been in my head of saying, you're not enough, you're not going to make it, you need to prove yourself. And it's that balance of fighting that fear and finding that confidence and that trust that I feel like I've navigated my whole life. And I'm in a point in my life right now, after going through enough things and overcoming enough things, but also having been loved deeply enough and supported deeply enough, that I am starting to understand my worth truly and feel confident, not only sharing my gifts with the world, but knowing that I see the beauty and the gifts in others, and so deeply and strongly wanting them to see for themselves how beautiful, how powerful, how amazing they are. And knowing that if we could all just show up that way in the world, how amazing we could make it, what impact we could have.
Wow. That is beautiful. I mean, honestly, and I just want to tell you guys, I just met Kimberly not too long ago, but when we met and every time we were like in the same space, it was just like this synergy, this energy that had that same, like, there was just like a light. And so what I appreciate about what you shared just now in your story is the fact that it's not only you being enough, but you wanting to see other people be enough.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today if others hadn't have helped me see my potential, right? And I think that's the challenge, is that, it's hard to see for ourselves. It's hard to look in the mirror and see our brilliance. We're used to looking at everything we don't like. We're used to hearing those voices that other people have maybe told us that, we weren't good enough. We were too fat, too stupid, too whatever it was. And we've learned how to lie to ourselves by listening to those voices, rather than seeing the truth of what we have, what we've been given, and what we have the potential to be.
Wow. And then that's a choice, right? It's a choice for us to either kind of stay in that space or to move to another space. And talk to us a little bit about maybe a lie that you were told or something. Give us an experience that might have shaped something in you that made you feel like you weren't enough and that you needed that extra love, that extra support to move into a direction that you needed to go to.
Oh my goodness, Queen. There are so many. Many as an adult. I might give you two just for perspective. I would say that, growing up, I grew up in a single parent family. My parents divorced when I was quite young, and we lived below the poverty line for a long time. And it was so frustrating as a young person to not fit in at school, to not be able to buy the right clothes, to not feel confident, to, not be great at sports. So you're the last one picked on the soccer team at recess, like all those things, right? And to feel insecure. And at the same time, to be the recipient of government programs that kept you alive, but didn't actually help you succeed. And that frustration of knowing there was more out there and wanting to be more, but feeling like the barriers were just too great, I just couldn't get past them, was such a motivation to me for so long. It did create a scarcity mindset for me that I have struggled with to this day, of the fear of, not having enough to pay the bills, or to, do the things that you need to do to buy groceries, whatever it was. And that fear of you could lose it all, you could not be safe tomorrow, has definitely held me back, versus just trusting that I can and that I will and that I'll be okay, and letting go of those fears and anxieties and just fully embracing life. So that's one. Another one is, throughout my career as a professional, I've been the CEO of a nonprofit organization. I've been a speaker for many years. I've been a consultant. And there's times when you succeed, when you beat the odds, when you do something incredible, and you expect, the world to be excited for you. And 95% of the people are. But there's always a few people that, whether they're jealous or whether they're, I don't know why, but they like to tear you down. And it's awful, but it's those voices sometimes that get in your head of, you shouldn't be here. This was a fluke that you did this. Oh, the minute you screw up on something, you never were good enough in the first place. Of course you screwed up. And so I think those are the voices that I've had to learn how to recognize and go, but they're not reality. They're not reality. So, I would say I had a major trauma as a young CEO. My finance manager was having some gambling troubles. I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't know that's what her problems were, but she ended up forging my signature on a bunch of bank documents and stole a whole lot of money, bankrupted the organization, and then 3 weeks later died by suicide. And here I was, 28 years old. We couldn't even make payroll. I'm traumatized. My team is traumatized. The whole community is wondering what the heck happened. And, it was a tragedy on so many levels. We worked really, really hard to rebuild this nonprofit organization and ended up turning it into a major success story afterwards, built it back better than it had ever been. But knowing how badly things could fall apart, right? Up until that point, I just believed if you just really work hard and you do the right things, you'll be successful. Well, I worked hard and I did the right things, and somebody else did something wrong and created these tragic outcomes that I was trying to pick up the pieces. But no matter what I did, I could rebuild the organization. I could do all those things, but I could not repair what she had done. I could not give her life back. And that killed my confidence for a very long time, because it made it very scary to realize that in a heartbeat, even if you do all the right things, it can all go wrong, and it can be the outcomes can be tragic. So it's an interesting road. I have to say that finding hope, holding on to hope, believing in tomorrow, always having hope and always having faith that this life is beautiful, and no matter what you're going through, it's worth living and it's worth trying. That's what I hold on to now, and that's what I go forward with.
I love that hope, right? I mean, honestly, that's wow. That's pretty deep. I think about, what you just said, there are people that are listening right now that says, I've done so much. I've really done everything I was told to do. I like worked hard night and day. But how do you overcome, like, how did you pick up the pieces and decide again to really stand in a space to say, okay, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to overcome without having like anxiety and all of that. Like, that's a big thing. I mean, I'll just be honest, anxiety and depressions and fear, all that comes from these situations. I heard you talk about your childhood situations and not feeling enough and how do you get to a space where you are now? You look so poised and you look so put together, but when you start to tell your story, it's like, whoa, I did not expect to hear that.
Right.
How do you continuously pick up these pieces with that? You take that hope with you, but what are some of the steps? What are like a couple main things that you did to help you pick up the pieces in the midst of all these troubles and trials that you went through or go through?
Yeah, I have to say I could not have done it alone. I had incredible love and support around me. My husband was with me every step of the way. I did end up with post-traumatic stress disorder after that incident. And what's interesting is my coping mechanisms at the time were just, I have to fix this. This organization depends on me. These people depend on me. I have to make it right. And so it was just put your head down and work really hard. And when I say I worked 24/7 for 14 months afterwards, I really mean I was in the office 7 days a week for at least 14 hours a day. And I was successful in reevaluating our mission and our purpose and doing all the things you're supposed to do, but at a tremendous personal cost. When the organization finally was a little bit more calm and level, and we weren't in crisis mode anymore, that's when I burnt out. And that's when the post-traumatic stress disorder hit hard. I hadn't allowed myself time to feel the emotions. I hadn't allowed myself to process what had happened. It was all about trying to fix the organization. And when I did finally crash and burn, it was the scariest, most painful place I've ever been. I often say when you hear about burnout, you think you're going to see the wall before you hit it. And what I found out is that no, you actually hit the wall, you fall hard and you're on the ground, and suddenly you wake up and you go, how did I get here? And I can't get back up. I literally can't pick myself up. And so I had extreme anxiety, extreme anxiety. Golly, I remember I couldn't get out of bed in the morning, but if I stayed in bed, I became scared. I had a hard time getting myself dressed. I didn't drive for 6 months. Just the constant fear was overwhelming for me. And my husband literally would say, okay, get out of bed, put these clothes on, eat this food. He just was beside me the whole time. And it took a lot of talking. It took a lot of forcing myself to face my fears. It is hard. It is hard to face your fears. And we all know that. And that's why we avoid them in so many ways. But then and now, I've learned that when you're uncomfortable with something, when you're feeling anxiety, that's the moment you actually need to stop running and think, what's upsetting me? What am I not wanting to face? What am I avoiding? Journaling was super helpful for me, sitting in nature, going for walks, just so many things like that helped me to quit running from my fears and to face them. And I started learning that when I face my fears, I can put a name on them, and then I can make a plan of what to do about it. Right? It's not easy and it's not a perfect solution, but it helps me take some control again over the situation. And as far as hope, I had to learn how to quit seeing the negative in life, the things that I was afraid of, and start seeing the joy and the gratitude again. And by having so many people that loved me, surrounding me, continuously reminding me that I was loved, that I was safe, that I was going to be okay, I slowly learned how to laugh again and how to appreciate the little things, which really, that's what joy in life is. It's not the awards and the successes. It's seeing your flower bloom in the spring for the first time. It's a sunshiny day. It's a friend calling and saying, I'm bringing you some cupcakes because I love you. Those are the things that help us see the beauty in life and remind us that we're loved, and give us those moments that remind us there's hope. There's always hope.
I appreciate that. I heard two main things that I want to point out to the audience and those who are listening, or who might be where you were, and trying to overcome that self-doubt, that failure, things just not working. I heard two very important things, and they're so basic, but sometimes we don't remember to do them. To just be able to have that care for self, for like taking a walk, like these are things that are so basic, but we don't really we don't really always like think about that, because we got to get ahead. We got to do what we need to do. But the beauty of what you said, when you didn't see that wall until it was like, wait a minute, I've hit. You needed to really take a moment, number one, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and know that it wasn't all about what you thought it was. Take care of yourself. I think about how we're created. Like, we are created very intricately from the top to the bottom, the inside out, mind, body, spirit, soul. So when you speak about that, it encourages me, and I hope it encourages someone out there and empowers someone out there to pause, breathe, take care of yourself consistently, so that you are here and able to do the work that you have, the calling that you're able to move into in such a beautiful way. So that's number one. The second thing I heard was like, your words had power.
Mm-hmm.
Your words had power. I know I'm kind of like paraphrasing, but this is how it hit me. What you said, your words had power. And you also mentioned it earlier when I asked you, a little bit about your story, that scarcity mindset, right? And so when we don't have self-care, that's number one, in effect, in action, we don't plan that just as hard as we do our business, our work and things. Number one, I'm an educator. Our kids are watching us. So we are kind of repeating like with my mom, when the things that she did, she was a workaholic all the time. So I was a workaholic. Our children can see that. The people who we are influencing and see that, right? And see that, and that's not really what it's for. So number one, and we talked about that care. Number two, we talked about the words, that scarcity mindset. Do you truly believe that you have what it takes to walk out your unique gifts, talents, and create impact? You cannot even get to the impact. Like, we can see it, right? You've seen it. You put all these things in place. Oh my gosh. So you have that self-care, the words and the people around you that are caring for you, that also adds to what you're thinking and saying and doing. So I appreciate you sharing that so boldly, and then understanding, like, I'm a business owner, CEO, for the first time. And so, like, that helps me, right? Coming out of the classroom, I always talk about having a winning classrooms, but it's about winning lives. Can we live well, be well, so that we can then impact well and be in a healthy space? Talk to us a little bit about how someone can overcome, right, those areas if they're stuck. And then on a larger scale, how does us standing in the power that we have, like, that's something that came from you, right? Standing in your power, standing in your amazingness. How do you get there if you're having trouble overcoming that space?
I love the question, Queen, because I know. At the end of the day, you have to look within. You have to look at, who am I and what do I believe? What matters to me? And what do I want to impact in this world? I tell people all the time, we do not spend enough time asking ourselves, who am I? I have spent so much time thinking, okay, Kimberly, who are you and what do you believe? I think when I had post-traumatic stress disorder, and even in the years after, whenever I've been in a time of anxiety or frustration or feeling uncomfortable, it's always come down to, my reality is not aligning with what I actually believe. And when that misalignment is there, you can't be comfortable. You're either compromising on something that's important to you, or you're doing something, you're not trusting or honoring your boundaries to please what somebody else needs, but that doesn't align with your values, right? And really, we have to have purpose in life. We have to know that we're here for a reason. And whatever it is that we believe, that's our core values. And we can only really feel confident and go forward being our authentic, true selves if we know what those things are. And so for me, it was always about coming back to, what do I truly believe about life? I believe that people inherently are good. I believe that every one of us has gifts and talents and abilities that we're meant to share with the world. I believe that if all of us could connect at the human level and truly listen to each other and appreciate each other's experiences, not only would we learn from each other, we would love each other more. And all these problems that are in the world, we would actually start to solve them, because instead of it being your way and my way, we could come together and figure out what our way is, right? So these were the things I believed. I've actually believed my whole life, that life is good, that life is a gift, that people are good, that we can have impact. And whenever I've had circumstances like the fraud and the suicide that challenged my belief, I had to figure out, do I still believe this? And when I did, when I realized that, yes, even though awful things happen to us, around us, I still believe that life is good, that people are good, that we have the ability to give to the world. And when I was able to go through that discomfort and challenge myself and come back to that belief, that's when you start to be able to show up in the world. But you can't do it until you know what you truly believe. And then you have to look at yourself and go, what's my part in this? How do I want to live these values? How do I want to make this impact? And it's not just your job title. It's more than, we put these titles on ourselves. I'm a parent. I'm a volunteer. I'm a teacher, whatever it is. And those things are all important. They're all part of our identity, but they're only one part of our identity. So we have to know the whole picture. What motivates you? What gets you excited? What scares you? What makes you cry? Where do you feel the most alive in your life? Who are the people in your life that bring the best out of you, that challenge you, that love you? And when you start to answer those questions, you just get a better sense of, again, who you are and how you want to show up in the world. And that is the answer. Because once you know that, you can be at home wherever you are because you within yourself have that foundation of strength. I found, again, my whole life, I've been searching for security and safety. And I realized the only place I can truly depend on it always is within myself, is trusting myself, trusting my instincts, trusting my intuition, trusting my gifts and my love and my talents. And then I can give them to other people. And it's not someone else giving me safety, it's me creating safety for myself.
That is so beautiful. So beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I love how you talked about the purpose and went there a little bit more deeply, because now we talk about purpose so loosely and everybody's like, oh, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? But when I kind of went back to that song, you know, am I the sum? Am I the sum of every high and low? That's part of the lyrics. And so I appreciate the strategy you gave to say, let me just reflect. Who am I? It comes back to the simple things. And so one of the reasons why I really wanted you to be on this show is because I think it's the simplistic things that you embody so brilliantly, right? I mean, honestly, we are living in a world where, like you said, I mean, there's so much happening, there's so much going on. But as we come to a close, I want you to talk to us about your message as a keynote speaker. What are you trying to get across to people about walking in their purpose, and what makes you so different? I can already see what's different, and I will share my testimonial about how you've impacted my life before we leave. But you know, you're on this mission, and you have a message to tell people. What is that message?
I want people to live their life with courage. I want people to live courageously, and I want them to show up authentically themselves, knowing that they can create impact, that they can inspire others, and that they can make a difference in this world. And I want them to be what I see in them. When I look at you, when I look at others, and I see the very best of who they are, the most beautiful form of who they are, and all they have to give, I want them to see that for themselves, so they know that that's what they're giving to the world, and so that they can share their gifts and talents in an impactful way, in whatever way aligns with their values, in whatever way creates meaning for them and for those around them. For me, it's about overcoming that fear, being courageous. You know, I used to think you had to do something huge to be considered courageous. You had to climb a huge mountain, you had to jump into a burning fire, whatever it was. But what I've come to learn is that we all have to be courageous every day in our lives. It takes courage to fight those voices in your head that say you're not enough. It takes courage to go out into our schools right now with some of the fears about safety, and some of the children that are coming in with families that are struggling, and you're facing so many challenges and your heart can be broken on a daily basis. It takes courage to show up and keep loving in those circumstances. In the last several years, we have all lost a lot. Through the pandemic, we lost our sense of what was normal. We lost people. We lost health. We lost our way of life. And with loss comes grief. And so many of us, so many people have grief right now that they don't really even recognize, they don't want to recognize. And it takes courage to look at that and acknowledge, my life has changed. It was outside of my control. And how do I move forward? And I think that all of us just need to be reminded that we have everything we need within us. You know, our lives do not have to be this perfect image that we see somebody else portraying on social media that may not even be true. That it takes courage, but the reward is so great when we just look within ourselves and see the beauty that we have.
Mm.
And we show up authentically owning who we are. And we stand in that. That's how we stand proudly, saying, this is me, all my experiences, all my scars, but all my joy. And I'm here. I'm here to share everything that I am with you. And together we're going to make this world even better. That's my mission.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have everything that we need inside of us. Thank you for that reminder. Yes, the world is different. I know some people have been sitting there, and I have done it myself, have been sitting there waiting for things to kind of go back to a way you feel more comfortable, but it may not. It may not, but you still have everything inside of you. I was sitting on the phone talking, or on a Zoom, I think we were on a Zoom talking, Kimberly, and you encouraged me so much just to live courageously, and go to the next level. And it's like, sometimes you feel, and I don't know if this is you listening, sometimes you feel, but I keep on trying to go to the next level. I keep on trying to. It is okay to not have all of the answers. It is okay to not be perfect. It's okay to say, I lost this, but it's also okay to move forward. This is what I'm hearing from you in my spirit. It's okay to move forward. It's about time. Lizzo is your other song.
Yes.
About time to step up into your purpose, because all that stuff that has happened, oh my gosh, Kimberly, this is what I got from you when you said to me, all that stuff that you've gone through already, there's still more. There's still more wins. There's even still more challenges, but you can still do it. You still have what it takes. And I'm telling you, if you are an educator, an entrepreneur, I want to welcome you all to our new series for authors and entrepreneurs. If you have a story to tell, write it down. You have a book inside of you. I'm working to push my book out of me. I was telling Kimberly about this, and she was like, come on, get it out, you, because I have it. It's here. It's not even in me. It's already on the pages. It's just like, be courageous, Robin. Be courageous, Queen, in this time that this is such a time for that, right? If you're starting the business, so we're both in that space, right? Like, come on, let's just keep doing everything we can until we have nothing left to give.
Absolutely. Queen, I just want to say, I mean, when I first met you, you mentioned like our shared energy, and we connected on this. And I feel like this is the point. If we show up as who we are with our passion and our love and our hope, we will connect at that level, and we'll light each other's flames. 16 months ago, my husband died, and I did everything I could to prepare for it. He was sick for quite a long time, and I knew it was coming. And I knew I was going to have to go through the grief, and I've done it, and I'm still in grief, of course, with the support of psychologists and friends and all the rest of that. But through it, I still had that. I had to look within and say, again, I still believe in life. I still believe in love. I still have hope. And I want to move forward courageously, and I want to do it with grace, and I want to do it with love. It is a choice. It's a choice that we make. And every one of us, every one of your listeners has the ability. You just have to choose. And that's the beauty of it. Nobody can do it for you, but you can choose. The power is yours. You always have the power to choose, to show up, to be courageous, and to make the life that you want to live.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, thank you for that. I want you all to support Kimberly. She has such an amazing calling on her life, and you've heard her stories, and I'm sure that's not all. And she's still standing tall. I know she is somebody that can support and help you through getting to a space where you're making the impact that you need. I'm putting your information in here in the chat, and I'll go and do it on all the other platforms. So just so you guys know how you guys can get, and you can even tell them as I put it in here, how can they get in contact with you? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, so my website is kimberlylyall.com. I'm on Instagram as Kimberly Inspires. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, both. Just look for Kimberly Lyall. You might need to look for Kimberly Lyall Motivational Speaker, but yeah, I'd be happy to connect with any of your listeners. I love doing keynotes. I love coming in to do masterminds, half day, full day. Just any way that we can work together. I'd love to be a part of your life and to help you to see the beauty that you have to offer the world and to cheer you on as you make that impact.
Yes, you all seen on the flyer, you seen that tree. She stands strong as that tree, tall. Oh my gosh, stand tall, everybody. It's time. I'm going to read a little bit of the other lyrics of her other song. Anybody that comes on here, you know, I love music, and sometimes music kind of tells some of our story when we can't tell it, and when we can. And so it says, turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm going to be all right. Come on, guys. Listen. Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. I'm way too fine to be stressed. Yes. Oh, I'm not the girl I was or used to be. Okay. I might be better. It's time to be better. You know, I took out all the other words, but the point is, it's time to be better. Turn up the music in your life. Live courageously, one day at a time. Thank you, Kimberly, for your beauty, for your light, for your story, for so vulnerably sharing who you are, what you're doing, and how you are living courageously and standing tall in your purpose. Thank you. We appreciate you, and we want you back. We want you back, and we want to know more about what you're doing. So thank you all. Any last words for the people?
Just go out there and rock it. I'm cheering for you. And thank you, Queen, for having me. And thank you for this platform. You're changing the world too. And I'm so excited to be part of it with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. Kimberly talked a little bit about hope. Our next guest is going to talk to you about restored hope and how you can continuously live courageously with that hope restored and transformed. And she will be here. Her name is Nakia Tillman. So thank you, guys. We'll see you next Monday at 7:30. And we